While it boasts the world's youngest and fastest growing workforce, it also grapples with pervasive poverty, inequality, and vulnerability. Climate change, weak governance, and chronic violence further exacerbate these challenges, threatening the livelihoods of millions and impeding sustainable human development. Amidst these adversities, the Sahel harbors immense promise for renewable energy and sustainable development. The transition to green energy not only presents an opportunity to address energy access, but also to propel the region towards a more equitable and resilient future. Today's launch marks a pivotal moment as we present the findings and recommendations of the 2023 Sahel HDR. This report, crafted through extensive review and analysis, spotlights the crucial role of energy as an enabler for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and the aspirations outlined in the African Union's Agenda 2063. As we navigate through the sessions, we aim not only to unveil the report's insights, but also to foster meaningful dialogue on actionable pathways forward. By engaging policymakers, development actors, and regional stakeholders, we seek to forge a continental dynamic around the development challenges confronting the Sahel. Collaborating with esteemed partners such as Chatham House, the African Union, and regional organizations like ECOWAS, OMVS, Liptako Goma Authority, and the Lake Chad Basin Authority underscores our collective commitment to catalyzing positive change in the region. Today's launch is not merely about disseminating a report. It's about catalyzing change, promoting buy-in, and galvanizing action towards a more prosperous and sustainable Sahel. Thank you for your presence, your engagement, and your dedication to advancing human development in the Sahel. Together, let's now embark on this journey of transformation. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to welcome to the podium Dr. Matthias Nab, Director of the Regional Service Center for Africa within the Regional Bureau for Africa at the UNDP. With a wealth of experience in development initiatives, Dr. Nab brings invaluable insights to the Sahel Human Development Report launch. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Nab.
Thank you. Thank you very much, moderator. Ms. Ahuna Izakonwa, my own boss, and Assistant Secretary General and Director for the Regional Bureau for Africa. Your Excellencies, Honorable Sedi Keita, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of the Gambia, Ambassador Mama Nuhu, Executive Secretary, Lake Chad Basin Commission, Dr. Alex Vines, Obe, Director for Africa Programs, Chatham House, Ms. Kadiata C. Diallo, Head of Environment and Climate, Resilience Department, Liptako Gorma Authority, my own brother, Engineer Abubakar Ali, Director of Renewable Energy, Federal Ministry of Power, Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, my own colleagues from the UN system, I see my brother here, Yakub from DCO, Regional Director, my colleague, the UNDP Res Rep from for Ethiopia, Sam Do, my colleague Atuzenu, representing our Nairobi hub. My colleagues from the Regional Service Center, you are all very warmly welcome to our new premises that hosts the UNDP Regional Service Center. It's a UN house because we have other sister agencies located here as well. So please, you are warmly welcome. It is an honor for me to stand here before you today as we embark on a momentous occasion, and that is the presentation of the Sahel Human Development Report. Through rigorous analysis and thoughtful reflection led by our senior economist, Raymond Gilpin, and the colleagues, the Sahel Human Development Report sheds light on the complex interplay between energy development and broader development objectives across the Sahel region. Our esteemed panelists will guide you through the findings and 3 distinct scenarios examined in the report: the current path scenario, the renewable push scenario, and the balanced green growth scenario. This HDR report has made the case that the time is now for action. The current window of opportunity that exists for making energy and other development investments.
COP28, this historic engagement on the internationalization coming addressing those countries. While opportunities abound, there is also a variety of climate change alone imposing a huge threat for health, one that is just in effect for a region that has contributed minimally to climate change today and still facing. One of the underlying significant policy and it was the landmark communication adopted in November 2023 at the inaugural Sahel Climate.
And as we launch the Sahel Human Development Report, let us seize this moment to reaffirm our commitment to action and to harnessing the power of sustainable energy to unlock the full potential of the Sahel. Ladies and gentlemen, I really thank you for making time to come to this event, and I would now like to yield to the moderator. I thank you all.
Thank you so much for those introductory remarks, Dr. Matthias Nab. Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to acknowledge our online community, and for our in-person participants, we have special interpretation headsets, line 1 for English and line 3 for French, if you would like to make use of that. Leading a diverse team of over 4,000 professionals across 46 African nations with $1 billion annual budget, her and her team's mission is clear: to combat poverty, promote prosperity, and safeguard our planet. With a profound commitment to investing in youth and women, the spine of human development, she champions a new narrative for Africa, one rooted in opportunity, not adversity, embracing Africa's agency and believing fervently that the continent holds the key to the future of development. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Ahunaize Konwa, Regional Director of the UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa.
I think I will recruit our very able moderator from the land of the brave to be my profile writer. I hadn't heard those words about me before. Let me start by declaring upfront that everyone in this room is a very important personality. And I want to recognize all of you, but let me give my special recognition to Honorable C.D. Keita, always standing with us, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of the Gambia, a very busy man, but he always shows up when we call. Minister, we're very grateful to you for your support and partnership I also recognize the only engineer in the room, maybe my dear brother from Nigeria, representing here Honorable Adelabu Adebayo Adekola, the Minister of Power in Nigeria. Ambassador Mama Nuhu, it's good to see you. A household name in UNDP, our Executive Secretary for the Lake Chad Basin Commission. We have been on a long journey with you and it's not yet over, but great to have you here as well as our representative from the Liptako-Gomer Authority. I also want to pay special respects to Dr. Alex Vines, who is increasingly in the kitchen with us as we cook some of these reports. Of course, my representative here, our director for the Regional Service Center, who you just heard from, for welcoming us to this beautiful new facility, which was inaugurated yesterday. I believe some of you were here. Our resident representative in Ethiopia here, Dr. Sam Doe. Everybody is a doctor, by the way, except me. And then, of course, we have professors in the room as well. You'll be hearing from some of our distinguished learned persons on this report, and special recognition to our team led by Dr. Raymond Gilpin, who have really taken us through this report. Many of you sitting here wondering, why are we talking about the Sahel in these terms? Normally today you will hear about the Sahel in the context of crises and unconstitutional changes of government and so on and so forth. By the way, I also, sitting right here in front of me, my dear brother Yakub, the only man who knows how to really pronounce my name. Our Development Coordination Office Africa Director. Yakub, it's great to have you here as well. Thank you. But I think in UNDP, for us, this report, and we were very intentional in choosing to do this human development report because we wanted to tell a different story about the Sahel. We wanted to have an expression of hope in this region and to have a different voice that will inspire rather than depress people. And it's not all sort of based on fiction and sentimentalities. I think what you will be learning through this report is that it's real hope, a real tapestry of opportunity that is yet to be harnessed in this region because we're so overwhelmed by crisis. And the crisis, the dominance of a crisis approach and narrative to the Sahel. So it's a very deliberate choice that UNDP has made to tell a different story about this region. And I'm very proud to be before you here today to present this report, which title we have chosen to be called Sustainable Energy for Economic and Climate Security in the Sahel. And I really want to deeply appreciate our dedicated teams at UNDP and our esteemed partners for their unwavering commitment and collaborative spirit in crafting a timely report that provides actionable insights and solutions that are tailored for the Sahel region, but also beyond the Sahel. It's been a long journey, actually. We started this journey a few years ago, but we wanted to get it right. But even then, I'm sure we're not 100% right in predicting what happens next in the Sahel through this report. So forgive us for some of the loopholes that you will find, but I can tell you that it will not be for lack of a real serious effort and taking our time to ensure that we have a deeper understanding of what it takes to get it right in this region. I also want to thank Alex Vines and his team at Chatham House in the UK for partnering with us in the launch of the report. This 2030 Sahel Human Development Report explores creative ways in which the Sahel's resources could revolutionize the region's development trajectory. It demonstrates how regional approaches to energy transitions can catalyze positive change for over 362 million people that live in this vibrant region, 10 countries and counting, from Burkina Faso to Senegal. This report is being launched at a critical moment for the Sahel. Lingering security concerns, inherent challenges on regional cohesion, and unacceptably high levels of poverty that threaten to fragment the region. Our report clearly demonstrates how Sahelian countries can be stronger together, and how the region's significant energy resources could accelerate the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals across the region. And I want to underline the phrase stronger together, because what we're feeling in the region today is somewhat of a breakaway, a breaking up of cohesion. But I think that we have to stand against that breakup, because it is existential that this region sticks together. The strength is in being together. Your presence here today underscores the pivotal role each one of you plays in translating the insights of this report into impactful actions. Together, we can use this document as a transformative blueprint that challenges and reshapes our understanding of, but also our approach to economic development in the Sahel. Our aspirations for the report are quite clear. The first is that we aim to counter that narrative of the Sahel as a region that will perpetually remain in poverty and instability. We want to highlight instead its immense potential, from youth demographics to renewable energy resources. This report seeks to illuminate pathways for leveraging this potential to break cycles of poverty and propel the region towards prosperity. Secondly, we aim to identify sustainable energy as a cornerstone for the Sahel's development, that it is capable of driving progress even in the face of volatility and environmental crises. We do this by advocating for what my colleague Matthias called balanced green growth, BGG, which entails the judicious mix of the region's energy resources in a manner that delivers development dividends and protects the planet. And dear friends, and I know many of you are friends of the Sahel, when we talk about development dividends, we are literally insisting that we have to invest in ways that every life is touched. Not development for a few, not prosperity for those who happen to be in the right rooms at the right time. We're talking about spreading the goods of the region so that every human being, irrespective of where they're born and where they live, can be touched by development. Our analysis suggests the BGG approach could boost the region's GDP by over $17.5 billion in the coming decades. It could achieve universal electrification. It could enhance health and education outcomes and substantially lift millions out of poverty. And all this will be done while limiting the growth of harmful carbon dioxide emissions. However, if we're going to attain these development gains, we will require substantial financing. We estimate a cumulative investment of up to $186 billion by 2030 that will be required to actually make the shifts that we're talking about. By 2050, this could increase to over 700 billion. Securing this level of investment will require bold action and significant creativity, as you can imagine. Embracing innovative financing strategies such as greenhouse gas trading systems, green bonds, and debt swaps could provide Sahelian countries an opportunity to generate requisite financing. But beyond offering these visionary pathways, this report provides concrete policy and implementation frameworks, as well as very specific policy recommendations for for the Sahelian countries themselves to pioneer green industrialization in Africa. The report further underscores the importance of overcoming political and economic barriers that could hinder progress. And speaking, let me quote a really inspiring leader on the continent when we talk about this topic, Wangari Maathai, who, when she was accepting her Nobel Peace Prize in 2004, said the following words, and I quote, "In the course of history, there comes a time when humanity is called to shift a new level of consciousness, to shift to a new level of consciousness, to reach a higher moral ground, a time when we have to shed our fear and give hope to each other. That time is now." End of quote. She was speaking in 2004, but these words ring so true for 2024, 20 years later. And similarly, this report is a clarion call to all the inhabitants of the Sahel, all the governments in the Sahelian countries, and all the friends of the Sahel. We call the Sahel a global public good. Whatever happens in this region touches the entire globe. So we can't afford, whether we come from the region or not, to fold our arms and just be observers of things that are unfolding. We have to take action now. The time to deepen regional synergies is now. The time not to allow a disintegration and fragmentation of this region is now. The time to declare that the Sahel is stronger together is now. The time to use energy as a transformative enabler for sustainable and equitable economic development is now. And I want to encourage you to join us in implementing the recommendations of this report as we sow those seeds of regeneration and renewal across the Sahel, a land where civilization actually began, a land where commerce found its origins, a land where we know that knowledge began to grow before anywhere else. Let us not give up on the Sahel. On the contrary, let us embrace hope for this region through this report. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Ahuna Eziokonwa. Always such a pleasure listening to when she speaks. And I personally am very glad to meet her again after, I think, 2 months or 3 when you were last in Namibia. Ladies and gentlemen, with those remarks, introductory and welcome remarks from our Regional Director of the UNDP RBA and the Director of the RSCA, we trust that you are most welcome, and we now move on to the high-level remarks. And for that, I would like to start off by introducing our speaker, our next speaker, who has a deep understanding of economic dynamics and commitment to regional development, and whose perspective today is absolutely crucial. As the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of the Gambia, Honorable Sidi Keita, believes in the development of a robust and sound economy grounded on prudent financial management that will support the country's, that's the Gambia's development agenda, and improve the lives and livelihoods of Gambians. Please join me in giving the Honorable Minister a warm applause as we welcome him to the podium.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator, for those introductory remarks. And Your Excellency, Madam Ahuma Ezokonwa, Regional Director for UNDP, Regional Director for Africa. Matthias Knapp, Director from the Regional Service Center. Nkoyo Tinkum, Director of the UNDP Sub-Regional Hub for West and Central Africa. The resident representatives here present, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols duly and respectively observed. It's with great pleasure that I stand before you here today to address this august gathering at the launch of the Sahel Human Development Report organized by the United Nations Development Program. And on behalf of my president, Adama Barrow, and the people and government of the Gambia, I extend sincere gratitude to the United Nations Development Program and the agencies for the unwavering commitment to promoting human development. The Sahel Human Development Report serves as a vital tool for charting a course towards a more prosperous and equitable future for our people, and further explores the most suitable energy strategies for the Sahel region. Consequently, its findings will provide valuable insights into the complex socioeconomic dynamics of the Sahel, guiding our efforts to design the effective policies and interventions that enables us to overcome the challenges that lie ahead. As a Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, at these challenging times, the Sahel Human Development Report's focus on energy combination that focuses on fostering solutions will not only yield substantial socioeconomic dividends, but will also uphold environmental stewardship. The Gambia recognizes the indispensable role of economic empowerment in driving human development. As we are confronted with a myriad of challenges facing our region, some will call it polycrisis, from poverty and unemployment to climate change and insecurity, it is imperative that we prioritize fostering an enabling environment to unlock the full potential of our people and pave the way for sustainable, inclusive economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, by harnessing the diverse energy sources and promoting innovative technologies, we aim to ensure that our development trajectory is both economically robust and environmentally responsible. This report underscores the urgency of adopting policies and strategies that prioritizes efficient, renewable energy and clean technologies. Such measures not only mitigate environmental degradation, but also unlocks new opportunities for job creation, economic diversification, and social empowerment across the Sahel region. That is why renewable energy is positioned to be at least not less than 1/3 of the energy mix of the Gambia as part of Gambia's energy roadmap. This ambitious energy roadmap aims to provide universal access to all Gambians, regardless of where you live, by year 2025. And we are anchoring it on the bedrock of renewable energy, solar as well as hydroelectric from the sister Republic of Guinea. Recent worldwide economic disruptions and challenges in geopolitical dynamics have underscored the importance of shifting the Sahel region from energy dependency to energy self-reliant. This transition would provide accessible, dependable, and affordable energy to all individuals in the region. However, we cannot achieve the sustainable development in isolation. The challenges facing Sahel are multifaceted and interconnected, requiring response from governments, international organizations, civil societies, and the private sector. The Sahel is a case of living in poverty in the midst of plenty. The solar energy, that there is not a day in the Sahel region when there is no sunshine. And yet still, more than 1/3 of the Sahel region are without electricity. We all know what electricity contributes to the lives and livelihoods of everybody. So for us in this 21st century, to be talking about a region that is at the equator, at the center of the sunshine, and is energy poor, it calls for action from all actors in the development space. I commend the United Nations Development Programme for its tireless efforts in human development initiatives and reaffirm Gambia government's commitment to working closely with the UNDP and other stakeholders to advance our shared goals on transforming energy combinations that facilitate a fair transition while bringing significant socioeconomic benefits and reducing environmental impact. Together, we can harness the transformative power of human development to build a brighter future for all the people in the Sahel. In my conclusion, I think it is imperative that the human development reports that we are launching also outlines regional strategies that allow for scaled up investments, economies of scale, and broader energy markets, and highlights collaboration and partnerships as a solution to address the root causes of poverty, inequality, and insecurity in our region as we embark on this journey towards human development and prosperity. Let us remain steadfast in our resolve to leave no one behind. And this concept of no one behind should not be mere rhetoric. It should be backed by action. It should be backed by policymakers. It should be backed by development partners. And it is to serve the people who are really, really in dire need of development. And in the 21st century, I think it is travesty to say that we have a large population of our region not having access to energy. The Sahel can lead a green industrialization in Africa to its 340 million populace, and the Gambia stands ready to play its part in advancing the goals and aspirations of the Sahel region. And we look forward to working closely with our partners to build a brighter future for all. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Honorable C.D. Keita, Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs of the Gambia. With a focus on renewable energy, Engineer Abubakar Ali Dabshima, Director of Renewable Energy at the Federal Ministry of Power in Nigeria, brings expertise on sustainable development and energy security to the discussion. Let us welcome and give the Honorable Minister, or rather the engineer, my apologies, a warm applause.
Thank you very much, moderator. Please, I want to extend the apology of the Honourable Minister, Chief Adebayo Adelabu. Actually, he would have loved to be in this very important, launch of the Sahel report. But unfortunately, just yesterday, there was urgency in the country where he has to meet with the Vice President concerning the power issues, while the President is away for African Union. So he asked me to come and represent him. And I want to align to the existing protocol and also to recognize the Honorable Minister of Finance, Gambia, Honorable Sidi Keita, the Ambassador Maman Nuhu, and also the Regional Executive Director of UNDP, and all eminent, participants in this particular, program. You are highly welcome. I just want to now read a brief remarks of the Honorable Minister of Power Nigeria, which I am representing in India. All protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed member of the African Union and United Nations Development Program. Today, I stand before you to address the critical issue that demands our immediate attention on the launch of the report on the human development in the Sahel region. The Sahel region has long been a region plunged by challenges such as poverty, food security, and lack of access to essential services. As a unified body committed to betterment of our continent, especially the Sahel, it is imperative that we recognize and address the pressing needs of the Sahel to pave the way for sustainable development and prosperity. We cannot turn a blind eye to the struggle faced by our brothers and sisters in the Sahel, and our resilience in the face of diversity is a testament to our unwavering spirit, but it is also our responsibility to provide our teeming youth with the support and resources necessary to strive. Through collaborative effort and strategic initiatives, we have the power to uplift the Sahel and secure brighter future for its inhabitants. With the launch of this report, I thought we are going to achieve that, no doubt about it. I call upon the member states of the African Union to join hands in concerted effort to invest in the human development of the Sahel. This investment entails empowering local communities, improving access to education and healthcare, and fostering economic opportunities that will boost the region's growth. By prioritizing sustainable development in the Sahel, with the launch of this report, we can create a ripple effect of progress that will benefit the entire continent. As part of Nigerian government administration's objective to provide direction with ensuring power availability to citizens and encourage industrial production and employment for the youths. For the youthful population, the government has come up with relevant policies and programs, such as the enactment of the acts, in the Electricity Act 2003 in June, and also strengthening and also coming with regulation. And this regulation, coming with the mini-grid regulation, this regulation has established a legal framework that allows mini-grid operators to coexist with the conventional power distribution companies with support of international organizations like UNDP and our development partners. Also, the regulation on individual customer, a regulation instrument to enable energy consumers enter into bilateral agreements with generation companies to purchase power by paying higher charges for premium services and create opportunities for improving quality of supply. Also, leveraging on the availability of solar in the Sahel to drive that particular process. And under the Sustainable Energy for All Action Agenda, investment prospects were developed. This strategic plan to provide guidance for investors on government policies. In this view, in the Ministry of Power has come with a renewable energy and energy efficiency policy that by the year 2030 to generate 30 gigawatts with at least 30% share of renewable energy. And this participation has to come through mainly by development partners and also private investment, having the right policies in place for them to contribute in the development of the Sahel region. Let me also embrace the spirit of solidarity and cooperation as we work towards a Sahel where every individual has the opportunity to live a dignified life. The time to act is now. The time to act is now. And together we can chart a path towards a more equitable and prosperous future for all. So this report will actually leverage immensely to achieve that. Therefore, I am thanking you all for listening to the remarks of the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Engineer Abubakar Ali Dabshima. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached what ultimately brings us here today. With his profound understanding of economic trends and development strategies, Dr. Raymond Gilpin, Chief Economist and Head of the Strategic Analysis and Research Team at the Regional Bureau for Africa, UNDP, will now present the findings and recommendations of the Sahel Human Development Report, offering crucial insights into the region's challenges and opportunities. Please welcome Dr. Raymond Gilpin.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator, and welcome everyone. All protocols observed. Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. We're here today to present to you the findings and recommendations of this Human Development Report. One small correction. The report is not just about energy transitions. It's about human development. Since the first UNDP Human Development Report was launched in 1990, UNDP has been reshaping the way we think about and understand what's possible in the realm of development. And over the years, both the global and regional human development reports have kind of blazed a trail that have helped us think creatively about possibilities. A couple of years ago, we started on this journey, and our regional director challenged us not just to write another report, because truth be told, we are good at writing reports, but she wanted something that helps us think about what would make a difference to each and every one of the 362 million people in the 10 countries we covered. After a lot of consideration, we thought about what is it that we could identify as a comparative advantage in the Sahel that could trigger development that would deliver human development. And that's what it's all about. And so we started with a clean slate. Okay, we started with a clean slate, and we said, how do we understand what the Sahel has? And how could we take those resources and game them out over the future to see which entry point is most viable and which pathway we could take from that entry point to get us where we want to be. A Sahel that's more resilient, a Sahel that's more vibrant, and a Sahel that's a more significant part of the global economy. And so we decided to go with energy, because as everybody has said already, the Sahel has abundant energy resources. In order to give us a sense of what this would look like if we did it right over the years, we worked with the Pardee Center at the University of Denver, and a shout out to the team there that worked with us using an international futures model to look at what the data tells us about the various pathways. We looked at 3 pathways using energy as a catalyst for development. The first pathway we called the current trend. And on this current growth trend, we said, if we don't do anything different, what would it look like? Then we said, what if we go aggressively with renewables and have a very aggressive pathway? What would that look like? And then we had the third scenario, which was, what if we balance it out and do it in such a way that we can take the communities along, that we could have the requisite financing, and we don't paint castles in the sky? And that's what we call the balanced green growth model. And this is the model that focuses on minimizing the financial pain to Sahelian countries, particularly those that have energy resources, and also at the same time, look at what the development impacts would be, what this would lead to in terms of strategic investments over the years. And so we looked at the data from all 3, and we found that the balanced green growth pathway is the one that is most likely to succeed. It's the one that has the greatest impacts on development, the one that is most transformative, both societally and economically, and also the one that is most sustainable over time and as regards protecting the planet. This pathway is the one that we believe works best, not just at a national level, but more importantly, at a regional level. This is a regional human development report. So we thought, rather than a lot of the small countries, small economies in many of the Sahelian countries try to make progress individually and alone, what if they work together? Because if you think about it, a lot of the upfront investments we need to do all of this are really onerous. Investors looking at individual countries might balk, but looking at groups of countries might say, maybe this is something worth investing in. And that is where the regional synergies, as the director rightly pointed out, the Sahel being stronger together. I see we now have, okay. So what are some of the results? The results show us that growth will be faster and more sustainable. They also show us that energy availability and affordability on the balanced green growth path work best for the Sahel. It also, I think it's working now. No, it's not working. Okay, next slide. Next slide. It also shows that the Human Development Index improves most appreciably with the balanced green growth. The more aggressive pathways end up being much more painful to countries because they have to forego a lot of investments on the social side to get there, for one. So the Human Development Index is much better. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Poverty reduction was one of the ones that was an eye-opener for us. This initiative, working together, lifts most people out of poverty of the 3 scenarios. Next slide. And it maintains the commitment, the regional commitment to global net zero goals. And so the sustainability dimension is also very important. Next slide. So how could we make this happen? So far we've been talking about what our model told us and what the data is telling us about the Sahel being stronger together. How could we make this happen? There are a number of recommendations I'm going to run through really quickly because we're running out of time. You have copies of the executive summary on your seats, and we should also have small postcards with QR codes so you could scan and download the full report, which is available online. Next slide. I think first, it is best when the countries in the region work together in a coordinated fashion. Next slide. Second, we find out that the consistent long-term engagement is important. And we're having a conversation just before coming in here, and the issue of not just political will, but sustained political will is important. Next slide. We should also be focusing on the socioeconomic, ensuring that the socioeconomic investments are made. And then I think the most important thing is finding ways to curate the patient capital needed for this. And in most of the Sahelian countries that we covered, the governments are already coming up with the bulk of these resources. What we need is to find ways to leverage government resources to be able to bring in a lot of the in foreign direct investment flows, and also the creative financing solutions that are necessary for this. Where do we go from here? Definitely not a roadshow. Where we go from here is thinking about how we could all work together to make this happen. We're already in conversations with a number of regional organizations to think about creative ways to ensure, not at national level, at community level, how to get the resources to communities so they could have the sort of mini grids, the connected grids that will ensure that this energy availability begins to transform not just domestic use of energy for cooking and electricity in the home, but we have grand ambitions for the Sahel to pioneer green industrialization in Africa. And it is within reach and it is possible. It's also possible for us to find ways to work with the private sector to coordinate both sustainability and energy production. We at UNDP have worked across the region, not just with our mini grids programs, but also a lot of community stabilization programs where energy could become the catalyst that is transformative. So we are all working in different areas. I think the important thing that this report leaves with us is, if we can find ways to coordinate and sustain our efforts, the chances of seeing the Sahel transformed and greened not just in terms of its environmental focus, but also in terms of industrialization and economic activity, could happen in our lifetimes. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your attention. Read the report, get back to us, and most importantly, let us all work with the people and the government and the organizations in the Sahel to make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dr. Raymond Gilpin for sharing those findings and recommendations of the Sahel HDR report. Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to call on Madam Ahuna Eziakonwa, Honorable Sidi Keita, Engineer Ali Dabshima, Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador Mamanu, Dr. Alex Vines, as well as Madam Kadiatou Saidialo, for the official ceremonial part of the launch of the Sahel HDR report. Please join us on stage. This is also a photo opportunity for our media in-house and our official photographer. And thereafter, we will showcase a short video. If our guests would kindly stand, thank you. May I just ask our tech team to please provide us with a roving microphone?
Could I please ask also Yakub to join us? Because this might be a UNDP-led report, but this is very much a UN system affair. UNDP can't walk this journey alone. We need our sister UN entities represented here by the Development Coordination Office to embrace the recommendations herein in supporting the countries in the Sahel. So with this special moment, we're declaring here the launch of the Sahel Human Development Report on energy, sustainable energy for economic and climate security in this beautiful region. The report is launched.
Ladies and gentlemen, please indulge in this short video.
Africa's Sahel region is rich in potential, pulsating with dynamic cities and powered by youthful energy and an abundance of natural resources. But this potential is not without its challenges, from climate change to security concerns and geopolitical complexities. Economically, the Sahel is on the brink of transformation. Agriculture, technology, and mining hold the promise of prosperity. Innovative entrepreneurs and resilient communities are poised to leap into a future of growth and opportunity. With one of the world's youngest populations, the Sahel could enjoy a demographic dividend if the continent's youth are empowered with education and employment. As the Sahel navigates the complexities of global geopolitics, the path forward will require a nuanced approach. Countries in the Sahel can harness international relationships to fuel its development trajectory, ensuring that engagements with global powers contribute to a sustainable and peaceful future. Security remains a significant challenge, with conflicts and instability affecting communities. Yet, through resilience and collaborative peace efforts, the Sahel seeks pathways to stability, safeguarding its development achievements and ensuring a secure future for its people. Although climate change is at the forefront of the Sahel's challenges, manifesting in erratic weather and threatening livelihoods, the region is responding with resilience, adopting sustainable practices and innovative solutions to protect its environment and secure a climate-resilient future. The Sahel's energy landscape is a testament to its untapped potential. Expansive solar and wind resources offer a path to clean, sustainable energy capable of powering dynamic economies while ensuring environmental stewardship. This is the focus of the Human Development Report in the Sahel. In envisioning a future where growth and sustainability converge, the Sahel Human Development Report embraces a balanced green growth pathway. Achieving this vision demands unwavering commitment to green transitions underpinned by effective policies and the mobilization of affordable financing. According to the Human Development Report in the Sahel, the road to a sustainable energy future in the Sahel hinges on financing for sustainable development, focusing on innovative climate finance mechanisms. Collaborative efforts for a sustainable future, focusing on viable regional synergies and creative partnerships between governments and the private sector and international partners. Empowering local communities, focusing on empowering local communities through education, skill development, and access to clean energy. These grassroots movements not only enhance resilience to climate impacts, but also drive economic innovation. The Sahel's journey is one of resilience, innovation, and unwavering spirit. By embracing balanced green growth pathways, securing sustainable financing, and fostering international cooperation, the region stands on the brink of a new dawn. The Human Development Report in the Sahel 2023 provides valuable insights on how this could unfold. Together, the countries of the Sahel can forge a future that is green, prosperous, and equitable for all its people.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the last segment of our program today, unpacking the Sahel's Human Development Report recommendations in a panel discussion. I would like to introduce you to Professor Landry Sinye, a globally recognized leader and prolific author with over 200 publications. He holds the fastest reported tenure and promotion to full professorship in US university history. With over 20 years of experience in prestigious roles across academia, business and policy, he has made significant contributions to solving complex global challenges. Professor Sinye has briefed top leaders worldwide and testified before influential bodies like the US Senate. His achievements have garnered over 80 awards and distinctions, including recognition by the World Economic Forum, New Africa Magazine, and the Carnegie Corporation of New York. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator for this session, Professor Landry Sinye, who will also introduce our panelists.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Fantastic. Please give another round of applause to our incredible, distinguished panel of this morning. I am truly honored and grateful to be here with you today. Of course, observing all protocol with our honorable ministers, ambassadors, resident representatives, director of this incredible, beautiful building, very welcoming. So, and distinguished guest, thank you very much for being there with us today. So, this panel is really an opportunity to unpack the Sahel Human Development recommendations with distinguished panelists, including Ambassador Maman Nuhu, Executive Secretary of the Lac Chad Basin Commission. Please join us on the panel. Dr. Alex Vines, Director, Africa Program, Chatham House, please join us. And Mrs. Kadiatou Sidialo, Head of the Environment and Climate Resilience Department at the Liptako Goma Authority. Please join us. So, perhaps let me start with one extremely important question here, which is the one related to gender. And for this question, I will come to you, Madame Diallo. Gender inclusion is a critical dimension of this report. And we have had a conversation as well this morning. So how is the Liptako Goma Authority is integrating the gender dimension in the policy-making process, whether in terms of implementation and so on? Yes, please, you have the floor.
Ok, je félicite mes prédécesseurs, les honorables qui ont passé, et chers participants, soyez les bienvenus. Ok, donc par rapport à ce panel, il y a quelques séries de questionnaires qui ont été adressés au Liptako Goma. Donc j'aurai le plaisir donc d'apporter les éléments de réponse aux questions posées. OK. Donc, par rapport à la première question, donc, il a été adressé au Liptako. Comment l'autorité du Liptako Gourma intègre-t-elle les perspectives de genre dans ses politiques et programmes énergétiques afin de garantir que les femmes et les filles bénéficient équitablement de l'accès aux énergies renouvelables? Donc, ensuite, la seconde question, pourriez-vous nous donner des exemples d'initiatives qui ont permis d'autonomiser les femmes dans le secteur de l'énergie dans votre région? Ok, une minute. Donc, par rapport à cette première question, l'ALG dispose d'un vaste programme d'intégration sous-régionale, donc qui est en phase de recherche de financement. Ce programme s'intitule Programme de développement des énergies renouvelables dans la région du Liptako Gourma. Le coût global du projet est estimé à 74 milliards 704 millions 779 275, donc ça c'est en francs CFA, donc qui est réparti entre les 3 pays du Liptako Gourma, à savoir le Mali, le Niger et le Burkina Faso. Donc pour le Burkina Faso, le montant global du projet est estimé à 23 milliards 588 955 francs CFA. Pour le Mali, c'est 37 milliards 587 472 118 francs CFA. Et pour le Niger, c'est 13 milliards 518 348 888 francs. Donc, les bénéficiaires de ce projet est estimé à 330 000 personnes. Donc, dans ce programme, nous avons un projet d'appui d'électrification rurale par système d'énergie renouvelable dans la région du Liptako-Gourma. Donc, tout simplement, l'objectif de ce programme, c'est de contribuer au développement économique et social des communautés de la région du Liptako-Gourma grâce à un accès fiable et durable à une énergie propre dans les zones rurales. Donc, en fait, ce projet compte l'autonomisation des femmes et des jeunes en tant que gardiens de paix et de développement au Sahel. Donc, comme expérience liée au genre de manque d'accès à l'énergie, donc nous avons certains projets d'infrastructure tels que les projets d'électrification rurale, donc ne supposant pas que les filles et les femmes, les garçons et les hommes ont des expériences différentes des manques d'énergie. Donc, puisqu'ils bénéficient apparemment de l'intervention de manière égale. Donc, cependant, les femmes et les hommes, les filles et les garçons ont des besoins et des exigences différents en matière d'infrastructure d'énergie. Par exemple, ils peuvent voyager en utilisant des moyens différents et à des moments différents. Ces différences peuvent conduire au harcèlement et à la violence sexiste, donc à l'égard des femmes et des filles. Et les conséquences de genre ne sont pas intégrées à la planification et à la conception.
Madame Diallo, si vous me permettez, est-ce que vous pouvez nous présenter deux exemples d'intégration avec succès des femmes dans ces processus décisionnels?
OK. Donc, comme exemple d'intégration, nous avons ce qu'on appelle le projet qui offre la possibilité à accéder à l'énergie, donc à des meilleures conditions de vie, de sécurité. Par exemple, les télévisions, les réfrigérateurs et éclairage public. Donc, les télévisions, par exemple, qui sont alimentées à travers l'énergie solaire, ça peut permettre, par exemple, on sait qu'en Afrique, ce sont les femmes qui occupent généralement la corvée, c'est-à-dire tout ce qui est les dépenses, la scolarisation en milieu rural, je parle bien, la scolarisation des enfants, les frais de soins. Maintenant, par exemple, à travers les réfrigérateurs, les femmes peuvent conserver les aliments. Donc, ça permet aussi, comment on appelle, de mener des activités génératrices de revenus en vendant, par exemple, de l'eau fraîche ou bien les jus traditionnels, donc elles font généralement pour vendre. D'autre part aussi, au niveau donc des CESCOM, ces réfrigérateurs jouent un rôle vraiment capital dans la mesure où on peut conserver les vaccins. Donc, les vaccins peuvent être conservés dans ces genres donc, de réfrigérateurs. Donc, ça, c'est quelques exemples que le projet donc, compte en fait mener.
Ça, c'est vraiment d'excellents exemples, Madame Diallo. On va revenir d'ici peu avec des questions additionnelles.
Okay.
Avant, je voudrais d'abord passer. I would like to now give the floor to Ambassador Maman Nuhu, Executive Secretary of the Lake Chad Basin Commission. And as you know, they are considering this Sahel Human Development Report, we have emphasized sustainability, sustainable energy for economic and climate security. Ambassador, could you share insight on how countries in the Lake Chad Basin are cooperating and or could cooperate to further enhance energy or renewable energy projects development implementation?
Thank you very much, moderator. The Director, Regional Bureau for Africa, Ms. Ahuna Ezeakoa, honorable ministers here present, I would like to stand on the existing protocol. Now, the question that has just been asked is two-pronged. What are the Lake Chad Basin countries doing, and what can they do to enhance collaboration on energy? Now, first of all, let me say what we can do before coming back to what we are actually doing. That is the aspect of knowledge sharing and capacity building. I know we can enhance collaboration through that. Countries can promote knowledge exchange and the capacity building initiatives by sharing best practices, research, and technologies which are related to renewable energy. Number two, there is also need for policy coordination. Harmonizing policies and regulations across countries can provide conducive environment for renewable energy. Countries can work together to develop common standards, regulations, and incentives to attract investments and create unified markets. We can also approach it through integrated energy planning. Collaborative efforts can be made to align national energy plans and strategies within the region. This can involve identifying complementary renewable energy resources and developing joint projects that maximize the potential for renewable energy generation. There is also the aspect of financing mechanism. Collaborative research, countries can explore and the establishment of joint financing mechanisms to support renewable energy projects. This can involve the creation of regional and sub-regional investment funds that can provide financial support and incentives for renewable energy development. Technical partnership is also another angle to look at it that can foster relationship. Collaborative research and development initiatives can be fostered through partnerships between countries, research institutions, and private sector. Jointly developing innovative renewable energy technologies such as solar, wind, and biomass can accelerate the development of sustainable energy solutions within the region.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'll get back to you, Excellency, with additional questions very soon. But let me first shift to Dr. Alex Vines, Director of Africa Program at Chatham House. In terms of policy framework for energy, successful transition, the creation of energy security require a conducive environment. What are the key ingredients for you that policy leaders, policy makers should integrate in the policy making process? in the Sahel?
Thank you very much, Prof. So first of all, I think it is that policymakers should actually study the Sahel Human Development Report 2023 and dig into it. Raymond and his team, I think, have come up with some very important ideas of pathways. I myself am very attracted to the concept of a balanced green growth pathway. It's pragmatic, it's realistic, and it cuts through some of the unrealistic debates that we see. How to initially mix some of the energy sources that the region already has, coal, gas, oil, and indeed nuclear. I mean, Burkina Faso recently said it wanted to develop a nuclear future, for example. So that's really important, to have a kind of long-term vision with a sense of how to get there for a better future. And as Huna said early on at the beginning, it's important that we do have a vision that's positive about the future of this region, because at the moment the discussion is all very pessimistic. Now, within that, if digging down, it is about how do you adopt targeted green industrial policies? How do you, we discussed it here yesterday, how do you unlock the African Free Continental Trade Area? How in particular do you attract private sector in? Multilaterals, obviously the engagement such as UNDP and others, but the development finance institutions. I myself have been involved last year in a workshop discussing these very issues we're discussing today with IFC. How do they get more involved in the Sahel, including in situations that are very contested? How does one practically get private equity to get involved in the region? Last week, I was at a dinner that I had to speak of private equity investors. We discussed the Sahel and the countries of ECOWAS. What some of them were saying is they will invest where there's consistent policy and guaranteed security. So in fact, they were upping their investments in Guinea. They were, interestingly, not over alarmed by the political turbulence in Senegal at the moment, but they were greatly perturbed by insecurity and uncertainty in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. That's telling you something, that security, but consistency is really, really important. And so, as Raymond said, the balanced green growth pathway is clearly not a castle in the sky. It is something that we do need to explore. And figures like 17.5 billion, if they can be unlocked for this region by 2063, that's a long way off, is really important. And my final point, again, it came up yesterday, which is some of the trouble that we do see at the moment in parts of the Sahel, the fragmentation. We shouldn't lose sight of the longer term vision. These things are cyclical. I remember a period of great pessimism in the Sahel, then a period of optimism. And now again, we're in a period of mixed emotion. Thanks, Prof.
Thank you so much. Perhaps a quick follow-up question is, how do you think that international policy influencers and countries, government in the Sahel can collaborate, can work to really work together to craft these policy and especially successfully implement them?
Look, at the end, the issue is human development. It is poverty reduction. Honorable Minister from the Gambia talked about the importance of universal access to electricity. That would be so transformative, and getting dependable, consistent energy. So working on where there is common vision to bring the whole region together, I think is really important, and building up trust and engagement. And this is where I hope that international partners consistently engage across the region. I mean, the part of the world that I'm coming from, Europe, this is near abroad for Europe. This is actually very, very much a strategic question, the prosperity of the Sahel for future European security, but also for future European growth. You can see the policy making in terms of the future supply chains, but also the future of circular migration, all depends on an assumption of greater economic prosperity of the Sahel. And that goes back to this key issue of dependable, universal, consistent energy.
Fantastic. I have a second round of questions, but one of the things that I want to do is to really engage the public as well. So I don't know if you have a mic that you can circulate or if you can activate this one. Can you activate this mic? Okay, excellent. So to the audience, do you have any question that you would like to ask or any contribution that you would like to make before? Yes, can you bring the mic here, please?
Thank you very much. I just wanted to echo the question asked by the professor about the readiness of the governments in the region to harness this potential that they have. And that requires policy readiness, capacity readiness in terms of contract management, especially because the emphasis is on private sector investment. So what are we doing, individual entities that are supporting the Sahel region, in preparing governments to be ready to harness this huge potential?
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll take a couple of additional questions before coming back to the panel. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm Kinga Thomas Nje from Cameroon, represents the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development. My question probably will go to Chatham House, but it's kind of very open because Cameroon has very much inscribed the issue of human development as well as renewable energy in its political and strategic framework, which is the Cameroon's National Development Strategy from 2020 to 2030. Looking in ways of improving investment in these sectors. I just want to find out, based on the recommendations from this report, is it possible that we have financing opportunities to be able to foster and have very long-lasting impact on some of these projects and strategies that have been put in place by different countries? And maybe secondly, to Madam C, we understand that the World Bank and even with the support from the United Nations system have been able to put in place the SWED program that cuts across several countries in the Sahel. SWED, which is the Sahel Women Demographic and Demographic Dividend Project. Cameroon is part of it, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, and the different countries. I just want to find out whether your institution has been able to probably exploit and capitalize on the fallout of such an initiative, which helps to accelerate the development and the empowerment of the girl child and of the woman in this Sahel country, and what would be probably the sustainable impact that it will cause, so that it will not just be a public debt for the country, but also something that will able to be sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can you have a question from, meaning I started this panel with gender balance, with the importance of gender. So can we have also a question? I want to balance a little bit. A third question, okay. So let me come back then to the panel. We have had a couple or three questions. So with the first one, preparing government to be ready to accelerate. So do you want to take this lead, Ambassador?
Yes, I think I will have a shot at it. Within the Lake Chad Basin Commission, we have actually been carrying out projects in this direction. The only thing that is applying brakes is the financial aspect of it. But the awareness, the desire to do it, there is no doubt about it. The countries are fully aware of it, but they do not have the resources to do that. I will give you an example. We have a project with the Africa Development Bank, the regional program to strengthen resilience of Lake Chad Basin socio-ecological system, which we call PRESIVAT. Under that program, the governments of Niger, Chad, Nigeria, and Central Africa are enhancing the use of renewable solar energy for powering water supply, for infrastructure, for both domestic and agricultural use. They use it as source of electrification of cold rooms, for fish harvest, and for running cow milk collection centers, among so many others. So these are some of the small scale value addition that we are doing within the basin. It can be upscale, but at the moment, our target are really the grassroots, the fish, cold rooms, the smoking of fish, and all those grassroots level entrepreneurship. That is our target, and we are having the full support of the governments to do that. So I think more sensitization is not the problem, but the funding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. So scale up, speed up to accelerate readiness. So now turning to Dr. Vines, will you mind elaborating more on the question of financing?
Yeah, so talking to private investors, one of the things that they're still saying is that there is capital. And if interest rates come down, they're actually more optimistic this year about putting more money into the African continent if interest rates decline, which is now what they think, especially developments that you're very aware of in the United States, that will open up more equity for the African continent. They were very, very pessimistic at the end of last year. So it shows how short these kind of emotion waves in private markets can be. But their key question is, where are the bankable projects and what's the appetite for risk? And this goes a little bit to the Cameroon question, which is Cameroon was a hot prospect a few years ago, but it's gone off the boil. Why is that? Because there's a perception of higher risk in Cameroon, greater sense of insecurity, yet actually the government has been speaking more to where there has been insecurity. There's dialogue, although that's very difficult, taking place with some of the armed groups. And so how does Cameroon recapture that perception of being an enabling business environment? Prof, this is a question that ourselves at Chatham House are also really thinking about and are going to start a small project looking at how can Cameroon enhance its business environment, for example. So this ties in, therefore, on getting that equity, getting that finance into building up green, sustainable energies, building up this green growth pathway that we're talking about here. And it is a very competitive context. So some countries are a lot better at getting that equity and that focus. And the Sahel, again, it is not monolithic, it's heterogeneous. A country like Mauritania has got a better chance at the moment than Burkina Faso. And it comes down to security, fundamentally.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Doctor. And Madam Diallo, on the question of women empowerment for sustainability. So would you mind sharing a couple of points? Je voulais dire sur la question reliée au renforcement des capacités des femmes qui a été posée par notre collègue.
Ouais.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner un point ou deux?
Oh oui. Par rapport au renforcement des capacités des femmes, donc le projet, nous comptons mettre en place les mini-centrales scolaires et voltaïques. Ensuite, réalisation aussi des kits scolaires autonomes et la réalisation aussi de réseaux de distribution. Et les réseaux de distribution, par exemple, d'eau, au lieu que ça soit les réseaux de distribution manuels, ce serait avec les instruments solaires plutôt. Ensuite, il y a les lampadaires aussi solaires voltaïques pour l'éclairage public dans chaque localité dans la zone du projet.
Merci beaucoup, madame. Avons-nous d'autres questions de l'audience ou d'autres contributions? Ah, oui, excellent.
I'm going to ask this question in French for the representative of the Liptako Gourma. Ma question est la suivante. Puisque le Liptako Gourma est encore tout jeune, j'aimerais savoir si vous avez des projets en commun entre les trois pays. Et est-ce que vous travaillez aussi avec les jeunes de tous les pays? Parce que moi, j'apprécie les efforts qui sont faits dans ces trois pays. Et mon souhait serait de savoir si vous ne travaillez pas seulement au niveau individuel, mais que vous travaillez en collaboration. Parce que ensemble, vous pouvez gravir les montagnes. Merci.
Tout à fait. OK.
Merci beaucoup, madame. On va prendre deux questions finales.
Thank you very much. My name is Engineer Abubakar Ali from Nigeria, Director Renewable. My question is issue on funding. I just want us to recall that in the COP27, there was a pronouncement, some amount was meant for developing countries to access through the climate fund. And also in COP28, the developing countries have really, complained that the promises made were not, redeemed. And in COP28, it was all agreed that we are going to triple energy access and also double energy efficiency. And there was commitment for developing countries, to get funding to mitigate issue of climate change. I just want to find out from Ambassador Mama and also the Chanton House, this year's, pronouncement and also, promises that was made. How are we going to access that? Since we know funding is an issue for the developing countries, And yes, we realize that because of security issues in some, part of this Sahel and also Africa, it's difficult for actually, to go and do any meaningful, program that will benefit the lives of the common men. But for the areas that are okay, how do we intend to access this fund? It not be like the COP27, where promises are made and not redeemed. I just want to find out what are the lights we are going to get on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer.
Okay, merci, Monsieur le modérateur. Et je suis Salvador Emmanuel du Burkina Faso. C'est vrai que mon pays, en tout cas, un avantage comparatif en matière de solaire. Et c'est vrai que nous, en termes que pays sahélien, je crois que le Burkina Faso seul est en train de mettre beaucoup d'efforts à mettre en place l'énergie photovoltaïque, l'énergie solaire. Or, pourtant, je crois qu'on est ensemble avec l'Iptako Gourma. Est-ce qu'à notre niveau, est-ce qu'il y a des projets communs qui vont dans ce sens? Je prends le cas je parle ainsi parce que ça coûte cher. Et actuellement, même si avec l'insécurité qui en vogue, je ne crois pas qu'un secteur privé, le privé en tout cas, va vouloir intervenir dans ces zones-là. Parce qu'actuellement, quand on met en place des infrastructures, souvent c'est saboté par les attaques terroristes. Je crois que en ce moment, c'est l'État et puis l'ensemble des acteurs de la zone qui doivent en tout cas mettre ensemble les efforts pour investir dans ce domaine. Sinon, je ne crois pas que le secteur privé, en tout cas, va vouloir s'intéresser à ces pays. Vu que ça coûte cher, s'il faut investir, puis après on vient saboter, je crois qu'en ce moment, il faut trouver des voies et mesures, en tout cas, pour ces pays qui sont attaqués par les attaques terroristes, là, de trouver un moyen, en tout cas, pour mettre en place des projets communs pour cela. OK, merci beaucoup.
Merci, monsieur. On commence, on a à peu près sur les trois questions, il y a deux qui sont relativement convergentes. Donc, sur la question de la collaboration de projets sous-régionaux et non pas individuels. So on the question of sub-regional projects and not just individual projects. So, Madame Diallo, will you mind elaborating on those two questions, which were asked in French?
OK, merci. La première question que Madame a posée, ça a attiré mon attention. Le LIPTACO n'est pas une institution jeune. Elle a été créée en 1970, le 4 décembre 1970, donc elle a 53 ans. OK, donc nous travaillons les projets, nous avons les projets en commun. Nous faisons des projets fédérateurs parce que c'est l'objectif même du LIPTACO, pourquoi se mettre ensemble les trois pays, c'est pour défendre l'intérêt, que ce soit sur le plan économique, développement des infrastructures, également dans le développement, comment on appelle, humain. Donc, ces trois pays se sont mis ensemble. Nous intervenons aussi dans le domaine, comment on appelle, sécuritaire, tout récemment en 2007, avec la conférence des ministres. Le volet sécuritaire a été ajouté aux missions donc, du LIPTACO Gourmand. Pour revenir anticiper avec la question de M. Savadogo, donc par rapport aux jeunes, tous, comprenez que tous les projets que nous mettons, projets et programmes, c'est en commun avec les trois pays. C'est pourquoi dans mon intervention, le grand projet d'électrification rurale, ça concerne les trois pays. Mais la priorité a été donnée d'abord pour la phase pilote au Burkina. Maintenant, concernant les jeunes, c'est vrai que nous travaillons avec les jeunes parce que les jeunes, ce sont les grands, comment on appelle, vulgarisateurs donc, de projets à travers la sensibilisation. Donc, eux, ils peuvent vraiment amener la population, même en termes d'engagement, d'adhésion du projet. Donc, nos portes sont grandement ouvertes pour tous les jeunes donc, qui veulent travailler avec nous dans le sens donc, des énergies renouvelables ou bien dans le domaine de la résilience climatique. Voilà. Maintenant, concernant la question à M. Savadogo, c'est vrai que nos trois pays sont confrontés de la même manière par l'insécurité. Donc, c'est pour cela qu'ils se sont mis ensemble pour créer l'Alliance des États du Sahel. Donc, sécuriser surtout la zone du LIPTACO Gourmand, qu'on appelle la zone des trois frontières, où l'extrémisme violent, le banditisme résiduel est vraiment fréquent. Donc, les investissements concernant les équipements, c'est vrai, ça coûte cher avec les actes de sabotage. Donc, le projet a pris compte des mesures qu'il faut pour sécuriser donc, les endroits où on va installer les installations. Bien sûr, c'est de commun accord avec la communauté, que ce soit les chefferies au niveau local ou bien les mairies, par exemple.
Merci.
Et sans oublier les forces de sécurité aussi.
Fantastic. Merci beaucoup. Donc, now if we shift to the question of financing, and which is also connected to the mobilization of patient capital for green industrialization, which is so dear to the chief economist. So would you mind answering the question, elaborating further on answering the question, Dr. Vines?
Yeah, I mean, this requires intensive advocacy. It requires, the chief economist said it wasn't advocacy, but in fact, I think this is about sensitization. It's about discussing why there is opportunity, why there are good returns longer term, why why the Sahel should be a focus point for this. I mean, the statistics of half of the 362 million population of Sahel is without electricity, 40% of the region will be urbanized. That provides opportunities. So I think that's as important. And then where there are areas of insecurity, and this was a question that ties to the Nigeria one, there's still ways of partnering with private sector. Late last year, I was talking with mining companies who are important stakeholders in Burkina Faso and in Mali. And they are operating successfully, and they are looking at how they can improve their energy mix, how can they get off-grid solar, and they see themselves also as contributing to countering violent extremism by showing that there are areas of security where you can get development and investment. So this is, again, goes to a bit about the debate of the subnational and how you can get private partnerships. So I think these are the ways of unlocking creative resilience in difficult zones. And finally, on Nigeria, one of the good things, engineer, was that the dinner of the private equity people last week, they were a lot more interested this year, having now had more or less a year of the Tinubu administration. We're almost the year anniversary of the elections, that there are better policies coming through from Nigeria, and that this is a time to relook at Nigeria. The problem for you is that we're all in a hurry. The clock is ticking, the demands of population are immense, and how to get this process moving quickly. Because if the green growth pathway that Raymond and his colleagues are outlining, there's not that much room for delay, actually. There is real urgency here. So I go back to the point of advocacy and education being really important.
Fantastic, and I really like how you have elaborated on the role of the technology bridging the digital divide, including for off-grid solar solutions. We can add also battery storage, innovation, efficiency improvement, artificial intelligence, or machine learning to connect data and improve the policy-making process. So those are really key dimensions. And to finish with you, Ambassador, so what are some of the key opportunities, including related to using tech to enhance the effectiveness or simply the infrastructure in the lectured basin?
Thank you very much. First of all, I want to address the issue of funding that was addressed directly to me. It is a recurring problem. It is a huge challenge. It is a real problem. Unfortunately, yes, there are those pledges made in COP27 and COP28. How to redeem them is actually a challenge. Unfortunately, the Lake Chad Basin Commission is just an observer in the conference of the parties. We are not a member, so we actually do not get directly into that. We can sensitize and try to bring it to the fore at every opportunity, but we do not have the voice directly to address that issue. Thank you. Now, regarding diversification or this thing, I think we can harness solar and wind energy potential through regional Lake Chad Basin activities. For example, the diversification of the energy source can reduce dependency on fossil fuel, which of course has multiplier effect. It will make the region less susceptible to price volatility and disruptions, power disruptions. And diversification also enhances resilience by reducing energy related vulnerabilities in the area. So that is actually one area. There is also the aspect of job creation and economic development. The development of solar and wind projects within the region can create local employment. I talked about employment at the grassroots level. Actually, that is what is going to see us through. We want more and more people to get out of the cycle of violence. So our priority actually is down at that level to create jobs and accelerate economic development at that level. So that's the point I want to say now.
Thank you so much, Excellency. So on this incredible final point, please give a round of applause to the our distinguished panelists. Perhaps let me, it's not in the program, but let me call Dr. Raymond Gilpin to just say a final word. And I would like to express again the gratitude for all of you for coming here, but also the extraordinary leadership of Dr. Gilpin, as well as the regional director, distinguished Aruna.
Thank you so much, Professor Senior. I think this has been a very rich panel. We've considered a number of very difficult questions, and once again, I'd ask you to join me once more to give a round of applause for our excellent panel. One thing that we haven't said, and I'm glad I have this opportunity to have the last word, so to speak, is to mention that Professor Senior, as those of you who finally read the report would discover, was the lead consultant and primary author of the report. So thank you so much, Professor Senior, for joining the UNDP family to do this. It's been a long journey, but we're glad we're here. And as a number of speakers have said, and I would reiterate, this is not the end of the journey. This is only the beginning of the journey. We really have to work with the people who are in the trenches, some of whom are represented here, who are making things happen in the Sahel, in this space, to make bigger things happen, and to see how best we could have the regional synergies have multiplier effects that go beyond the energy sector. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and thanks for being here, and go to our website. Let's keep the conversation going. Send us your comments, and we believe that there's a lot that we can do in this vein. But before I go, unfortunately, our director had to leave early for another engagement. Just a few words of thanks. Thank you so much to Dr. Matthias McNabb and the excellent team here at our regional center for making all of this happen, not just in terms of logistics, but also thinking through issues with us. Thank you so much to the regional center. And please just give them a big round of applause. I know. Thanks also to our moderator, Rochelle Locke, for coming all the way from Namibia to be with us, to shepherd this process. And thank you for all you brought to this process, and for also your continued partnership with UNDP. This is her first time in Ethiopia, so let's make sure she has some injera before she leaves. And thanks to our panelists, Chatham House, and last but by no means least, thanks to Dr. El Hajifal, who is the point person in New York for this particular report and the event. Let's give him a... Okay, so.
Thank you so much, Dr. Raymond Gilpin. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this momentous occasion, I am sure that the room is filled with optimism and determination. The insights shared today certainly illuminates a path forward, a path towards a more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous Sahel. So thank you again also from my side for your dedication here today, your invaluable contributions, and your steadfast belief in the transformative power of human development. Let's continue to journey together with courage, with compassion, and conviction. Before I sign off, just a small announcement. The staff that will be transported to the town hall, kindly make your way down as the bus, your transport is ready. we kindly ask that the staff that will be traveling to the town hall make their way down to the lobby. And then for those of you who can, please stick around a lovely lunch that has been prepared. On that note, again, may you have the vision of a thriving Sahel inspire us to strive for excellence and equity in all our endeavors. From me, Rochelle Locke, I'm signing out. Thank you.